Watch out! Their faces are set to fun! Oh, come on, somebody had to make that joke.
The laser is 'cause I like sci-fi. The dude is 'cause I am a rad guy. 99 is 'cause I like Wayne Gretzky. That's why I'm Lazy Dude 99. Laser time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. Let's talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the review.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Lazy Dude 99 video. Today I'm finally taking a look at Star Trek II Into Darkness. They should have brought a nightlight with them. Throughout this review I refer to Star Trek Into Darkness as Star Trek II. I have been informed though that is not correct since Star Trek II is of course Wrath of Khan. So please know when I say Star Trek II I am meaning Into Darkness. Okay, so Star Trek II starring Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Benedict Cumberbatch as the villain, and yep, that's basically all you need to know. Spock, Kirk, and the villain. Okay, since this movie has been out for a while and most people have already seen it, this is going to be spoiler full, so if you haven't seen it, watch Jeremy Johns or somebody else's review on it that's not spoiler full, or just see the movie. That would probably save you a lot of time. It's a good enough movie. So what is Star Trek II about? Well, the basic story goes like this. We start with Kirk on this mission, doing his normal stuff, and of course, Kirk being Kirk, he breaks the rules and does something that's basically a big no-no. So Kirk goes against the rules, and then because of that, he's like court-martialed, and his captain, played by Bruce Greenwood, says, "You've been so irresponsible, I'm taking away your captain status." And then Kirk is like, "It feels so sad right now." And then Captain Pike is like, "Hey, you want to be my first officer?" "Cool!" And then Captain Pike dies. Anyway, he's killed by this mercenary played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and who basically assassinates a whole bunch of members of, Starfleet, and then teleports himself across the galaxy to the Klingon homeworld. So they can't exactly go over and say, "Excuse me, that little guy on your planet, can we just take him? Is that alright?" Because the Klingons would not be so happy with that. So Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise are now sent on a secret mission to find this guy and get back without alerting the Klingon. So let me just say that the feel of this movie, it's a different feel from the first Star Trek movie, because the first one you get this whole feeling of the Star Trek universe reimagined, and something happened, reshaped the universe, and this is the way it is now. And you had this new feeling, oh my gosh, it's like a new experience of experiencing your favorite characters from the past in a new way. But here you have to take that feeling and try to continue it, but you can't have the same feeling, so you gotta try to continue the character growth as much as you can. So let me start by saying that the relationship between Kirk and Spock here still is handled great. Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto, I really do like. I hear some people who think that Zachary Quinto is too monotone and doesn't really portray Spock that well, but hey, to each his own. I think he does a good job of portraying a Vulcan, because, they're not supposed to show that much emotion, but I think he does a good job of showing some at the right moments, except for one part, which I'll get into later. And Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, I still love him. I think he's a little... I didn't like it, let's just say I didn't like him as much in this one as I did in the other one. I think he's a little too jerky in this movie, a little too full of himself. But I know that they need that for the story to go where they want it to. Let me just say that Star Trek II Into Darkness, it's not as good as the first Star Trek. However, that doesn't make it a bad film. Far from it. I quite enjoyed my time watching this movie. The computer graphics in this show is awesome. And so, okay, the villain. Everybody saw it coming. Nobody was really surprised. It was, of course, Khan! For anyone who don't really know who Khan is, he's watch Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. It's that simple. But he's basically this guy who was basically a super soldier sent frozen, cryogenically frozen, came to the future and becomes the enemy of Captain Kirk. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, the best thing about that movie is the sheer rivalry and hatred and just villain-hero relationship that you get from Khan and Kirk. And when you see Khan come out in this movie on the Klingon planet and he's like blasting everyone... you really get to see him as a powerful villain. I really kind of like that. The thing that you don't really get with Khan in this as much as I would like to is the whole poetic nature of it. You know, Khan was like, when he's like about to like kill Kirk in Wrath of Khan, he's like quoting like Moby Dick, and he was a. Not to say that Benedict Cumberbatch isn't quotable. He is. He has a lot of good lines throughout the film. I just wish they kind of felt like he was more of the villain. For example, you kind of are thinking, oh, he's the main bad guy, and then you got this, like, and you're all set for, like, okay, I'm ready to go after this guy, I'm ready to take him down. Kirk, this guy, before you know it was Khan, but you already knew, I'm ready for Kirk and this guy to duke it out. And then you get this general guy, you're like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm just a general, and I hate the Klingons, and I'm gonna do this old cliche general stuff. And that's when you're like, oh, okay, can we just get back to the good villain? However, to be fair, we do eventually go back to the good villain. I know why they had to do this, because one of the advantages that, Star Trek II had is Khan was already set up. He was already a villain in the TV show. He was already a villain in the show, so they didn't have to set up who Khan. Well, they gave like some information to the newbies, but they didn't have to set up Khan and his whole backstory because it was already made. And in this version, Kirk hasn't met Khan before, so you have to have them meet, and then you got to make him still as cool as he was in the other one. Which, I don't think they fully meet that goal, but I think they meet it to a point where it's satisfactory. However, my biggest complaint would be that Khan isn't Kirk's villain in this. In fact, Khan basically like plays with Kirk. He's just like, There's a scene where Kirk is they capture Khan, and they're like they got him. Kirk wants to vent his rage on him, so he starts punching him. And he's just like, seriously, I was Sherlock. And Kirk's basically like unconscious for the final part of this film. In fact, he was kind of dead. In a scene it was a good scene. It paralleled Wrath of Khan and the death of Spock. And I thought the way that they made Kirk live was good, because it was set up before and it didn't come fully out of left field. I thought it was good, though I guess Khan's blood can heal anyone, or anything. I guess Khan's blood can heal radiation. That's a good to know. Anyway, they do this scene where, Spock dies and said, switch it around, and Kirk dies. I will admit they kind of fooled me for a bit. I'm like, they're not actually killing him, are they? But I'm like, wait, J.J. Abrams, I don't think he's going to do another one because he's doing Star Wars. Maybe he is going to die and they're just going to end it here. But he didn't. Anyway, the scene is nice until Spock yells, Khan! I couldn't help it. I rolled my eyes when that happened. I was just like, no. That kind of feels more like parody than actual storytelling. I mean, I was actually okay with them basically ripping off the scene from Wrath of Khan, just switching it around. I was kind of okay with that. But for Spock to yell out Khan, that seems more like a bit that somebody would do in a parody thing, not something that Spock would actually do. Spock usually doesn't vent his anger by yelling randomly, but Kirk would. I think the pacing of this movie is a little off, mostly because of the secondary villain that they kind of had to throw in there just to keep the ball rolling.
I mean, I don't really know how else they could have included Khan and made him the main villain, the main focus all the way through. But at the very least, he is the focus through the main through. As I said, I wish it was the rivalry between Kirk and Khan. In the end, if you really look at it, it is Spock who A, outsmarts Khan, and B, beats the crap out of Khan in the end. That kind of had to do with Kirk being half dead. But my point is, I wanted to see Captain Kirk take down Khan. But the thing is, there is a possibility that that can still happen. Khan is now cryogenically frozen in a tube. There's a possibility that he could be a villain in another Star Trek movie. I don't know if J.J. Abrams is going to be directing another Star Trek movie because he's now on the Star Wars, which I still think is really weird. I almost guarantee J.J. Abrams will die being between two groups of Star Trek fans and Star Wars fans, pulling at his arm saying, "He likes us better!" And then, no more J.J. Abrams. However, the fact that he's still there leaves hope that we can have a full movie with just Khan and Kirk duking it out. That's there for the future, and that very well could happen. And you know what? I look forward to seeing if that fully comes around. I like Kirk's character arc because he has to learn that he can't always be right and that sacrifices have to be made. And in the end, he decides it's best for himself to take that sacrifice and, risk his life to almost die. The rest of the cast is still good, too. Carl Urban is still hilarious as Dr. McCoy. I was kind of sad that Simon Pegg wasn't really on the Enterprise for most of the film, but at the very least he still had stuff to do, and he still had funny lines. It seems where he's running, he's like, "I'm running!" I don't know, I thought that was funny. It's the Star Trek II Into Darkness is filled with intense action scenes, some good character moments. Not as good as the first one because it has some pacing issues and some characters that I don't really know why they were in there. Some cliched characters, but in the end, I think the pros outweigh the cons. Cons! So I'm giving Star Trek II Into Darkness a 6.5 out of 10. It's a good movie for people who are fans of sci-fi, just fans of Star Trek, or just fans of science fiction action movies in general. For anybody else, I would say just watch the first one and see if you can get into it. If you can't get into the first one, you're not going to get into the second one. So, remember guys, I'm LazyDude99, and if I don't like it, it's not worth it. See you around. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon. Hey everybody, welcome to another LazyDude99 video. Today I'm finally taking a look at Star Wars... Oh, shoot. If you really look at it, it is Spock who A, outsmarts Khan, and Spock who B, beats the crap out of Spawn. Spawn? What did I say Spawn for? In the end, if you really look at it, it is Spock who A, outsmarts Khan, and B, beats the crap out of Spawn. I nearly said Spawn again. If you really look at it, it is Spock who A, beats the crap... I liked Benedict Cumberbatch as Spawn... Why am I saying Spawn? I've been watching too much of Geek Illusion Spawn here. Here's some advertising for you.